Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. It's Rod with POW Group. Today is Friday, August 22nd, and I have the pleasure to welcome back to the show Hugo Alves, CEO of Auxly. And Auxly trades on the TSX under ticker symbol XLY and CBWTF on the OTC. Hugo, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Rod. Great to be here. Thank you very much for having me back, and thank you to your viewers for tuning in.
Pleasure is all mine. Well, there's a lot that has happened since we last spoke. It was November of last year that we had you on. Yeah. And it's been an exciting time. You had a record quarter last quarter. So we'll just jump right into your Q2 results. You absolutely, the Auxly team and yourself, you knocked it out of the park. Truly a transformational year for Auxly. We've been seeing the share price rise tremendously as well. So kudos to you on all the hard work. What metrics were you most proud of during this quarter?
Thank you for that, Rod. I think, I think the metric that I'm most proud of, it doesn't really show up in the numbers, which is it was as you mentioned, a true full team effort. The teamwork and commitment to get this much done in a quarter was incredible, and I think the results were stellar across the board. Right, we posted a 33% year-over-year increase in net revenue. A 52% gross margin, which is 11 percentage points higher than last year, really demonstrating the efficiency gains that we've made. And record adjusted EBITDA, $12 million. That was a 30% EBITDA margin and 120% better than last year. And I think just as importantly, we were able to close our recapitalization immediately after quarter end, which that has a massive impact. It really reduced our debt meaningfully. We eliminated over $20 million of debt off the balance sheet. It gave us an additional $10 million of available capital to fund future growth. And, it flipped our working capital from negative to positive $35 million pro forma. So it's a really transformative quarter for Auxly, as you mentioned, and it was a full team effort. I could not be prouder of the team. So that's what I'm most proud of, is that it took the full team to get these results.
Absolutely. And there's over 400 employees at Auxly.
410 employees strong. That's right.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, like I said, my appreciation goes out to all your hard work and everybody at Auxly. It's a great time to be an investor finally. The share price is starting to recover, so love to see that. Also saw that you purchased some shares, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, look, I'm a big believer, obviously, in the company. I think I'm the largest individual shareholder. I've been in the market multiple times this year, 3 separate times. Purchasing, significant amounts for me, and I'll continue to support the stock. I'm a big believer in the future and the opportunities that we have ahead of us.
Absolutely. Well, full disclosure, I'm a shareholder as well. I know you know that, but
yes, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Everybody listening in, just so I'm fully transparent. But yeah, thank you for all the color on the metrics. Gross margin. Definitely industry leading, right? Especially in Canada, 52%. That's wow, it's amazing. So keep up the great work. And the biggest thing for me, right, was the removal of the going concern. And you mentioned that in the previous time we spoke, that was the priority, and you've followed through on that with flying colors. So what was it that you think influenced the most? Like, was it the working capital situation? Or what do you think most influenced the removal of the going concern?
Yeah, look, I think it really helps to have increased profitability, right? Like, that helps a lot. I think at the end of the Q2, if you look at our last 12 months, we've generated about $140 million in net revenue, over $38 million in adjusted EBITDA, and we've generated approximately $22 million in operating cash flow. So strong profitability gives strategic and capital partners a lot of confidence. And I think, the recapitalization, which I've already mentioned, it removed a significant amount of current liabilities. It allowed us to flip working capital from negative to positive, pro forma working capital of $35 million. And I think those two combined things, the increased profitability plus the recapitalization, it really fortified our foundations for future growth. And I think like that gives us the confidence to remove that going concern uncertainty note, right? We're confident that those days are behind us. The company is healthy, it's growing, and it's profitable. I think the company and our team is stronger for having gone through the difficult times, and right now we have the tools and resources we need to continue growing profitably and continue improving our balance sheet.
Totally. Yeah. Well, what other, like leading into the end of the year here in 2025, 2026 and beyond, what would you say now that the going concern has been removed and that was your top priority? What would you say is the list of top priorities leading into the end of the year and beyond?
I think first and foremost, Rod, we want to finish the year strong, right? We want to deliver a strong back half of the year, maintain very strong year-over-year growth, right? Priority number one. As you know, the Canadian market is still growing, and winning at home is our priority. So I think we're proven innovation leaders. We've proven that we can make products that consumers love and trust. And we've got a few surprises over the back half of the year. So, there will be some continued innovation. We will continue investing in our Leamington facility with a focus on improving yields, improving efficiency and quality. And, we're continuing to selectively evaluate international opportunities. Auxly will participate in international markets, but we're going to take our time. We think those market and the dynamics within market are still evolving. So we're going to remain focused on winning at home, delivering the back half of the year, continuing to delight consumers with innovation, and continuing to refine and upgrade Auxly Leamington.
Awesome. And like while we're on the topic of international, is that like you mentioned you're definitely going to be looking at opportunities. Are you just waiting for regulatory clarity in these markets? Like we've seen some movement in Europe, like for Germany comes to mind, but are you looking for more concrete plans, or you just haven't, or is it more to do with, the opportunity and the due diligence of a company, or is it more to do with the regulations?
I think it's a variety of issues. I think first and foremost, our strategy is to win at home. So we're keenly focused on the domestic market.
Okay.
I think secondly, we don't feel we need to rush. Right? We don't feel we need to rush into international markets. We are evaluating them. We're having lots of conversations, but remember, we have one of the world's truly global giant CPG companies as our strategic partners. So we feel that when the time is right and we want to move into international markets in a meaningful way, that we'll have the support of Imperial to help us scale quickly and efficiently in those markets. And then of course, like we also want to make sure that we're upgrading our own capabilities to be able to participate in those markets in the way that we ultimately want to.
That's true. Yeah. And there's so much growth, like you said, winning at home. Here at home, you just recently introduced some new SKUs. I think last time you had 3 SKUs in Quebec. What can you tell us about that market? How has that been progressing? How many SKUs would you say you have there now? And yeah, just how is the overall Quebec market going as of today?
I'm glad you asked that because we're making incredible progress in Quebec. We're really delighted with how warmly Quebec consumers have received our products. Back 40, our flagship brand, was the fastest growing brand in Quebec last quarter.
Wow.
Right.
That's awesome.
It's now the number 4 brand in Quebec over the last 4 weeks with a very limited SKU portfolio. And our Fire Breath flower, which is now in Quebec, is the number 1 flower SKU and the number 2 SKU overall total market over the last 4 weeks.
Wow.
And, so we're doing great in Quebec. I think the keys to success there have been working with a very strong Quebec-based partner, and also Auxly's reputation and our ability to consistently deliver high quality flower at scale, right? To be a great partner to our provincial customers. So we're making great inroads. We're committed to Quebec. and we're excited about continuing to work with Quebec and our partners there, and significantly increasing our market share over in the coming years. So it's going great.
That's awesome. And what about the straight pre-rolls, the straight edge ones? Are those still kind of?
No, we have them in. There's two of our SKUs. Two of our SKUs are those pre-rolls, and consumers love them. Just like they love them in the rest of the country.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that because like the government didn't like the fact that they resembled cigarettes, and so that's not a. When did that SKU enter the Quebec market?
They've been there for a while now. Like there are a few different requirements that the SQDC requires for their jurisdiction, but nothing major. And they're listening to their consumers and providing them with the products that they demand, and we're delighted to be part of that assortment.
Awesome. Oh, that's exciting. Well, thank you for that. And in terms of like outstanding shares, that's something that comes up a lot. I think you have like north of 1.3 billion shares outstanding. Have you given any like additional thought into, ways that you could sort of just resolve that? Are you worried about that? Are you looking at share buybacks? What sort of confidence can you give investors who view that as a concern, if you will?
Yeah, look, I would say, we're aware of our share count. We're also aware of, the history in our industry of, certain measures that can be taken to address share counts, like a reverse split, which we don't have any plans for in the immediate term, right, in the immediate future, and we would need to go to shareholders to ask for that anyway. So there'd be plenty of notice. I know investors, a vocal group of investors, like the idea of a share buyback. I would say this: investing in growth and improving our balance sheet are by far and away our top priorities.
Yeah.
So I don't want to set an expectation that we're going to pursue a share buyback. It's not in our near-term thinking, right? And I would just say, look, like the Auxly team, we're material shareholders, right? Like we own around 6% of that big outstanding share count. And, as you mentioned, I've been in market various times this year, including earlier this week, buying at 17 cents. So we really believe in the share price. We really believe in the future prospects of the business. And, we believe that shareholders will benefit most from Auxly allocating capital to growth and continued balance sheet improvements over the near term.
That's awesome. Well, you bought the top, man. What are you doing? This is the top of the move. You're supposed to buy the low.
No, look.
Yeah. Why 17 cents?
That was the price that day. That was obviously. I'm a long-term holder of the stock, and so I'm less interested in kind of like intraday or over the short-term short swings. We believe in the company. Believe in what we've built, and we're excited about the future. So, we're just buying at whatever levels we can get in at when we're not in blackout.
Yeah. No, I'm just having some fun. I know
you are.
No, it's a huge vote of confidence, right? And I've been buying Auxly. I relish the times where I was able to buy it at a penny. I couldn't believe, right? I was like, pinch myself, am I dreaming? I can't believe this thing's at a penny or 2 pennies when I was buying it.
Well, look, there was a going concern uncertainty note. There was significant risk, and I think in shareholders and investors who took that risk and supported us deserve the return. So I'm delighted that we could be a part of that. That we can give you that return, and I bought at 17 cents. I'd encourage you to keep buying because we'll keep doing everything we can to surface value for all of our stakeholders. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, with regards to, you mentioned reverse splits, while we're on the topic of that, what about, like, would you ever consider, like, not just in terms of reducing shares, but you have to meet certain criteria to uplist? Is that a priority? Uplisting to a U.S. major exchange, like a reverse split could help with that because it could increase your share price over that required threshold. Is that something that you would consider, or are you looking at uplisting at all? Any more thought into that?
Yeah, we don't have any plans at the moment. we're very much focused on continuing to go profitably and winning at home in Canada. As you alluded to, like a U.S. exchange comes with a lot of additional expense, complexity, risk. I think over the long term, it is a possibility. This is something that we assess on a regular basis, and we'll continue to review it regularly. But it's not in our sort of near term.
Not immediate plans. Okay.
Yeah, not immediate plans.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's almost kind of a blessing in disguise because there's been a lot of companies that have been forced to do, actually multiple reverse splits now. Some of your peers, and it kind of leaves a bad taste in investors' mouths. So the fact that you don't have that kind of narrative going along, I think, has really maybe been, like I said, a little bit of a blessing in disguise. And what else would you say you're doing to attract institutional investors? Is there any steps that you can take to start to kind of move the needle on that front?
Yeah, great question, because I think, we are at a real kind of inflection point in terms of institutional ownership, given that, we have flipped to consistently, sustainable and increasing profitability. And now with our recapitalization, we're also able to change the way we look at strategy, right? We're out of survival mode, and we're now approaching strategy from a different vantage point, one that's more geared towards growth and capital allocation, which really ticks, some of those institutional investor boxes. And I think we're in the process right now, again, in this back half of the year, of refining our medium-term strategy. And with that, we will be making, a push to make institutional investors more aware of Auxly and our medium-term plans. So, that is very much one of our IR objectives over the sort of like next 12 months.
Okay, great. And there's been some conjecture on social media. I had some questions about this. Came up quite a lot, actually. What's the status of like Auxly, the facilities in Charlottetown, Auxly, Charlottetown, Dosecan? Are those up for sale? Maybe if you could just clear that up.
So there is no Dosecan. Okay, it's just Auxly Charlottetown.
Okay, so it's rebranded?
Right? That was the old name of the facility. Look, Auxly Charlottetown is the best. I'm biased, but I think it's the best vape innovation and manufacturing team in the world. And it is a valuable and strategic part of Auxly. So I would say this rumor stemmed from a bit of misinformation, right? We don't currently own the Auxly Charlottetown building, right? We lease it on a lease to own arrangement, right? Okay. So over the years, as we've paid down that lease, we have the option to purchase the building for the remaining amount of the lease, which we've obviously worked off quite a bit over the years. So what we were doing is testing the market to see if we could arbitrage that into a non-dilutive financing, right? Effectively, we exercise our option to purchase at a low price. We immediately sell it to a new purchaser at a higher price, net the difference, and then we enter into a new lease with the new landlord, right? Okay. So it doesn't really change anything from our perspective operationally. We didn't own the building to begin with, and now we were hoping to net off somewhere in the $5 to $7 million range. But since we were able to complete our recapitalization, and with the greater financial flexibility that it provides, we're no longer as interested in that type of transaction. And I'm actually in the process of taking the listing down. So it was not a leave Charlottetown. It's not like, no, Charlottetown, we're committed to Charlottetown. The asset is strategic to us. We think they're the best vape team in the world. We were just looking to do a kind of like creative, non-dilutive financing that's no longer necessary given the recap.
Gotcha. Oh, that's interesting. And I mentioned this last time. I'm actually from PEI, lived in Charlottetown for a while. It's beautiful.
I'm going on Monday. I'm there on Monday.
Right? Nice. Yeah. I'm trying to go in the next couple of months. So,
keep you posted. The winter gets there
for sure. Cold, I want to do some golfing. So, best place to go for that. And that's interesting though, because a lot of companies in the early days, was that facility purpose built? Was from the ground up? Okay. So yeah, interesting, because a lot of companies, they overpaid for facilities and they end up having to sell them for pennies on the dollar. So the fact that you even took that approach was very, kind of just a great visionary aspect, I think, and kind of just being financially sound. And yeah, that's kudos to you on making that move.
You're being
That's
too
awesome.
kind, Rod. You're being too kind, Rod, in terms of like that forward-looking visionary. Like, it's, I think, like a lot of things. We really wanted the asset when we bought it. We've put a lot of money in it to develop it, and
Mhm.
we're delighted with the way things are going there. Like I said, best vape team in the world.
For sure. And like, how are the vape sales going as of today? I think the last time you said there was over 3 million of those all-in-one vapes alone that sold. How are they doing?
I think when I spoke to you, it was 1 million units that had
Was it a
sold.
million?
But yeah,
Okay,
millions. But
yeah, it was a presentation I think you did with I forget who it was now, maybe a few months ago, and I think it was over 3 million.
well, look, vape sales are crushing, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say like we really believe in the future of the format. We have since day one, right? Like
Hmm.
we've been in legal vape since day one. I think vape innovation is where our team really shines, right? Like I think, Auxly Charlottetown, again, second to none in that. And I think our track record speaks for itself
Hmm.
in terms of vapor innovation. Currently, we're the number 2 company in vapes, but we're also the fastest growing company of any of the top 5s. We're growing at the till sales 43% on a rolling 12-month basis.
Gotcha.
At a brand level, Back 40 is the number 2 brand. Vape's total market, and also growing at the till sales at 47% on a rolling 12. When you get to like that innovation category, right, like
Hmm.
the all-in-one vapes, it's the fastest growing category in vapes, and we're
Yep.
dominating there. So we introduced the all-in-one vapes. Back 40 is the number 1 all-in-one vape brand, 24% share of the category, growing at the till sales 160% on a rolling 12-month basis. Collab, which is our
Hmm.
premium concentrates brand, it's the number 3 all-in-one disposable brand, 4% share of total market, and it's growing at the till sales 400% on
Wow.
a rolling 12, right? So we've
Hmm.
proven that we're vape leaders, we're innovation leaders, and we're not going to stop. I got a new vape innovation coming in the back half of the year. We're all super excited about it, but again, not ready to share details at this time.
Okay. All right. Can't
Stay
wait
tuned.
to.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be watching for sure. I'm always it's super exciting watching the story unfold. Like I said, on just multiple fronts. But I've said for a long time that that the Auxly story, I think it's going to be one to relish for sure. To just look back and see where we were and where we're going. And like I said, I'm biased too. So
It'll have a lot of plot twists for sure.
yeah. So you touched on Leamington just very briefly there. What do you see? Like, is there any plans, immediate plans to increase the capacity there? Would that incur additional capex, and how would you plan to fund that if that were the case?
Yeah, great question. I think very timely, right? Seeing, you know, many companies announcing significant capacity increases over the coming, 12 to 18 months.
Hmm.
We're in the planning phases right now, Rod, of with respect to capex spending. So I can't really give you a specific range.
Okay.
I've already mentioned we will continue to invest in Auxly Leamington.
Right.
What I can tell you is we're going to be disciplined, right, in terms of our capex spending. We're going to continue to invest in Leamington in terms of output, quality, and efficiency, but we're going to be disciplined, and whatever capex we're spending is going to be funded from our own cash flows. So I can tell you those 3 things.
Thanks for that, Hugo. And like we touched on a lot of production capacity increases, and I think a lot of that has to do with the just overall demand that we've been seeing, right? And specifically Canadian like wholesale flower sales. The trends are basically up and to the right. They're expected to rise in 2025, are they not? Is that the case? Like, are they even rising as of today, to your
Yeah,
knowledge?
look, wholesale flower is a small part of our business, right? We're
Hmm.
predominantly focused on building
Right.
brands and products consumers trust and love.
Mhm.
But it is a part of our business, and I'd say domestically we have seen price increases over the last 12 months. I would characterize them as stabilizing, right? As it's currently, because while there has been capacity divergence to international markets, right, creating a bit of a supply demand imbalance, we have seen capacity increase announcements, right? And
Mhm.
I also think the dominant flower players, the people who really play at scale from a consumer perspective in that sort of 28 gram bag kind of SKU, I think those are separated from the pack, and like we're now dominating that sort of high volume formats.
Mhm.
So that kind of has a little bit of an offsetting effect on that, you know, international divergence. And I think like we see prices as stabilizing. We think that they will remain stable over the near term. You know, there'll be slight ups and downs, you know, a little bit of volatility, but yeah, we've seen prices increase over the last 12 months. We think they're stabilizing, and you know, our outlook on pricing is positive in the near term.
Gotcha. Perfect. And you mentioned you had a couple SKUs planned for the rest of the year. How many would you say you have, like a number of SKUs that you have a goal to release by the end of the year?
Yeah, well, we don't have any SKU count
Okay.
targets and things like that. And I think, you know, um, look, I would just say we've been innovation leaders since day one, right?
Hmm.
We've been responsible for many first to market innovations. We've already talked a little bit about the smash hit with the AIOs, the all-in-one vapes. I think, you know, we've got one of the runaway pre-roll successes of the summer in our back 40 backpackers. So we're, you know, in our core categories of dried flower, vapor, and pre-rolls, we're not going to stop. We're going to continue to innovate. I won't tell you how many SKUs, but you know, we do have some major innovation surprises for the back half of the year, H2. So yeah, stay tuned. We're excited about them.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Any new cultivars that you're planning? I know Fire Breath, you got the Liquid Imagination, those have been rock
That
solid.
that could be part of it, Rod. Could be part of it. You could see
Yep,
another hot
we'll see.
cultivar. You could see another super hot vape. Like I said, we're not really ready to discuss them yet because
Okay.
they are some of our larger initiatives this year, but they are getting close. I think I'm very excited about them, and we think that again, it's just living up to our reputation of being innovation leaders, being keenly focused on our consumers in those three formats, and continuing to innovate to give them incredible new products, and build the value of our brands, right? Build like the trust and the love with consumers of our
Yeah,
brands to bring them consistently quality products and to bring them new and innovative things.
for sure. And the product speaks for themselves. People love them. When I go into the store, I see them all the time. I think you're in like 97% of stores, right, in Canada.
Yeah,
So
that's right, around there.
yeah, and even like just in Ontario, right? They doubled the store count from 75 to 150. So there's so much room to grow, and like you say, winning at home. We'll close it up. I think we pretty much hit on everything. What about the conference calls? That was another question that investors, the community, were asking about. Any plans to resume those in the back half of the year or 2026?
Look, what I'll say is we're developing a brand new IR strategy in the coming
Okay.
weeks, right? I think I may have mentioned this to you before, that this
Hmm.
is an area where we're trying to get better
Focused on.
in
Mhm.
investor relations. So we're definitely, you know, evaluating conference calls as part of that process.
Well said. Well, appreciate the clarity on that. That's all I have for you for today. I really appreciate all of your time, Hugo. Really, like I said, I can't thank you enough for all the hard work. It's been amazing just watching the Auxly story unfold. And like you said, you're just getting started. So, anything you would like to leave the audience with here today?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth, right? I think, you know, we've worked really hard. We've navigated the industry headwinds. The team is stronger for it, but we're really excited about the future, right? We're growing, we're profitable. We've got brands and products people trust and love. We've got world-class assets to continue growing, And now with the recapitalization, we have the financial resources and tools to also continue investing in growth. So, like you said, like I say, we're just getting started. We're excited about the future. And I look forward to being back on your show again in the future to give you an update. And just, to your viewers, to you, look, if you're looking at cannabis and you're thinking about investing, have a look at Auxly, because again, I can't give you any better vote of confidence than my own purchasing and market. And we're just getting started. We're excited.
Love it. Yeah, me too. Well, you got me. I got goosebumps. So I'm like I said, just really appreciative of your time and all your hard work, and just keep it up. You're doing a fantastic job, and the rest of the Auxly team.
It's not me. It looks like, thank you. It's not me. I am one person. Grateful to be part of this team.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, and thank you to everybody listening in. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.